Hi everyone, it's Becky here. So today I'm gonna copy this Vincent van Gogh's painting. So yeah, I love these golden colors and the cool blues and violets and the turquoise and the white in the sky is beautifully contrasting with the golden wheat field. So this one is very inspiring. So I'm gonna start with a very quick pencil draft using this white pencil crayon over this pre-painted canvas. Using burnt umber acrylic paint. So the horizontal lines and the little cottage houses. And then these slanting lines are adding a very strong sense of a dynamic rhythm of the wheat field. So I'm going to start to block in the sky area and then the golden wheat field. I think I'm going to start laying out this turquoise green color. So I'm going to use this bright aqua green from Liquitex Basics Acrylic. A bit of color variation by mixing a little bit of cerulean blue into the aqua green light. So for the next color in the sky, which are over here, mostly close to the horizon and on the top part of the painting, I'm going to use ultramarine violet and mixing more or less white into it to get these different shades of purples. Now I'm playing with the leftover blue and the leftover aqua green to blend with the light purples. I'm also mixing quite a bit of white into the turquoise and the blues for some brighter streaks of sunlight pushing through the clouds. And then I'm going to add these light streaks of clouds. I see these clouds are having very mild tints of yellow, not just pure white. So I'm going to grab this primary yellow, also from Liquitex brand, I think. Mix lots of white into it. And then I think I'm going to use Ultramarine Blue blended with a little bit of Cerulean Blue to paint the distant mountain. Maybe also a bit of white. Okay, so now I'm gonna reload my palette with this Hooker's Green Hue Permanent. I want to shade this Hooker's Green with a little bit of burnt Sienna, so you get a deeper shade of green. Mixing a little bit of yellow ochre into Hooker's Green to get the slightly brighter tone of green. So to make a green brighter, you can mix a little bit of yellow ochre and or primary yellow And don't forget, you can also mix in a bit more white to get an even lighter tint of green. Now I'm mixing this yellow green with hooker's green to paint this patch of grass, likely. Now is the blocking in time of the exciting golden yellows. So I'm gonna play with yellow ochre and the primary yellow. Was a tiny bit of green, yeah. Little bit of burnt sienna to shade the yellow a little bit. So shading the golden wheat field a little bit with brown, instead of just using yellow only, just gives a stronger sense of volume. We can also shade the seemingly golden wheat field with a little bit of green. Maybe, for example, here. You can also see a little bit of highlighting yellow by mixing a bit of white into the primary yellow and yellow ochre mix. So these are just the base colors that I could perceive. On top, I'm gonna use red, orange, and also shades of green to do the grass blades. When this layer is all dried, in the next stage. So I'm gonna mix yellow ochre with a little bit of this red for the roof, for the little roof here. Just like a little trapezoid shape. And just using the tip of the brush to add some outlines and other small suggestions of houses in a far distance. This house here is obviously shaded with gray here on the left. This is pretty much all shaded. This is more whitish here on the right, giving this house a more three-dimensional look. So to mix gray, I like to mix cobalt blue with violet and also a little bit of green, and then mix more or less white depending on the shade of gray you want to paint. And for the right side of the house, it's like 90% of white. And yeah, just mixing a bit of white into yellow ochre for some, brighter edges of the wheat field. Now, I'm starting to add details or texture for the wheat field. Right now, I'm using pure primary yellow and these little choppy brush marks. Mixing a tiny bit of hooker's green, so there's a little bit of subtle color variation. And I'm also mixing a little bit of white into the yellow, so there are some brush marks of highlights. And mixing a little white into the violet, because some part of the wheat field has some beautiful dots of whitish violet to shade the golden wheat stalks. Yeah, I can also see whitish purple on this patch of green grass. So for painting foliage, the more layers we do, I think the higher sense of volume we're going to achieve. Now, I'm adding these beautiful little brush marks of red mixed with a little bit of burnt sienna. Again, I think this is the shading color of the golden wheat stalks. I also mix in a little bit of white into the red brown for, some slightly lighter tints. Now, the top edge of this section of the wheat field has a lot of, highlighting strokes. So basically it's white mixed with yellow ochre and a little bit of primary yellow. So playing with brush marks of different sizes, because of distance, the brush marks closer to the bottom edge of the canvas is in the foreground. They can be a bit bigger. So in the next 1 minute of the video, it's all about adding these whitish yellow highlights using good little brush marks for the wheat field near and far. And now I want to refine these clouds a little bit by adding some whitish purples and also whitish blue violets and a bit of bright aqua green. Some little streaks of ultramarine blue for the sky area closer to the horizon. Okay, so now I want to add some more, brighter yellow greens by mixing more or less white into the yellow green and yellow green mixed with primary yellow. I also want to add these little choppy brush marks of yellow greens for the foreground, middle ground, wheat field. Yeah, just to give it more life. So even though the dominant color for this wheat field is mainly yellow, but I love the way Vincent van Gogh is also adding on a bit of red brown and also fresh yellow green, instead of using yellow only, and adding some more whitish tones for the farmhouses. Very high contrast for that largest farmhouse. And until the end of this video, I'm going to just add on some final polish, making very, very small brush marks of, little bit of highlights here and there. For example, whitish yellows, whitish purples. and also adding some, outlines, dividing the sections of the wheat field using burnt sienna mixed with a little bit of ultramarine blue. So you get like a dark sepia color to outline. And being very patient by adding some more whitish yellow ochre highlights so the wheat field is looking puffier, especially in the foreground and in the middle ground areas. I'm also suggesting the movement of the wind. Now I'm using hooker's green mixed with ultramarine blue and a little bit of burnt sienna to paint these little silhouettes of trees in the far distance. A bit of whitish ultramarine blue to outline the bottom of the mountain. Yeah, and here's a look of my finished painting. It took me about, 3 hours to paint. So thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. If you like it, please click like and leave me a comment below. Subscribe to my channel for weekly updates of new paintings, copies of classical paintings, and also my own acrylic paintings.